Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sing for Hope Open Arts, our fledgling program. We're bringing you some exciting programming every day from living rooms all across the U.S. and the world. We were just discussing that. My name is Patty. I'm hosting today. I'm so excited to have Maja FritzHuspen. I worked on that pronunciation. I'm ready. How did I do? Did I do okay?
You did a great job.
I was turning it over in my head. I wanted to get it right. Before we get started, just a couple things. You may be joining us right on our website at singforhope.org/openarts. You might be joining us over on YouTube. We always welcome you to come over to our direct website. You can interact with us, interact with the artists, and see all of our exciting programming coming up, especially if you go to singforhope.org/calendar, and you can see all the great things happening this week. Also, Open Arts is a completely donation-based platform, so if you want to help us keep the music going, you can visit singforhope.org/donate. And without further ado, I'm so excited to hear what beautiful mezzo-soprano music you'll be bringing to us today. So without further ado, I'm turning it over to Maja FritzHuspen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I am coming to you from a Philadelphia suburb. Very excited to be sharing some songs today about love. I thought summertime was a great time to share some love songs. So some of them will be from operas, also some art songs, and foreign languages, Italian, German, and maybe throw in a little English too.
All right, I'm excited. I'm excited to get started.
Sounds good. Well, the first song I wanted to share was one of my favorite roles to sing as a mezzo-soprano. As a mezzo, I get to sing lots of fun, flirty roles and fancy dresses, and one of those songs is Cruda Sorte, from The Italian Girl in Algeria by Rossini. And I am really drawn to her as a character because I feel like she's a real strong woman, kind of before her time. She was dating this guy and he got lost at sea, and it's set like in the 1800s, and she decides, I'm a strong, powerful woman. I can go find him. She gets on a ship and she goes to find her lover, Leondorno, but wouldn't you know, she gets shipwrecked. And when she looks over, she sees a whole bunch of pirates, and she realizes they want to take her as a part of their harem. But she decides, I know how to get out of this situation. I'm a strong woman. I can flirt my way out of it. Cruda sorte, amor tirano, questo il premio di mia fe, non verrò terror né affanno, porri a quel che io provo in me, per te solo, o mio lindoro, io mi trovo in periglio, da chi spero, oddio consiglio, oddio consiglio, chi conforto mi darà, da chi spero, oddio consiglio, chi conforto mi darà, da chi spero, oddio consiglio, chi conforto mi darà. Qua ci vuol disinvoltura, non più smania e paura, di coraggio hai tempo adesso, or chi sono si vedrà, or chi sono si vedrà. Già so per pratico quando si la fetto, do sguardo lunguido, do sospiretto. So domaglio vedi come si fa, sì 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 sì, so domaglio vedi come si fa, sì, so domaglio vedi come si fa. Sento il ciurruvidi, il flema a fuoco, son tutti simili a proso a poco, se il flema a fuoco, son tutti simili a proso a poco. Tutti la chiedono, tutti la bramano, tutti la chiedono, tutti la bramano. La vaga femmina felicità, sì 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 sì, la vaga femmina felicità, sì, la vaga femmina felicità, tutti la bramano, tutti la chiedono, la vaga femmina felicità, tutti la bramano, tutti la chiedono, la vaga femmina felicità, 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 la vaga femmina felicità, la vaga femmina felicità, felicità, felicità. I think she was able to get away from those pirates.
I loved knowing the context though, because I felt like I was actually able to follow the story as the music changes and as the imagery was there.
Oh, good, good, good.
Maya Lisa, can you, because we're live on the internet and we never know who could be watching us. So can you share a little bit about, you're a mezzo soprano. What does that mean?
Sure. So mezzo soprano is the medium female voice in the operatic repertoire. So for females, they're either soprano or mezzo soprano, sometimes contralto. So mezzos generally have a lot of notes in the mid-range, but as you heard in that song, sometimes we sing up pretty high, but we don't sit up high like a soprano would. Mezzos sometimes sing pants rolls, which I'll be sharing with you later. And that's when a female sings probably like a young man's part. Maybe his voice isn't changed and would have a similar range to, let's say, a mezzo. And in the operatic world, there's a lot of imagination, and we go with those stories. And when characters are on stage in costumes, sometimes it's very believable that a mezzo could be playing a young boy.
Wow, your voice is beautiful. So I love knowing some of the context behind it, and imagining. Obviously, we're in this virtual environment, and this is what live music looks like right now. But but it's so fun to imagine you on that stage and all of these scenes.
And it's fun to be able to share stories with people. I think that's one of the things that really draws me to performing, is to be able to share a part of who I am or a part of a character that I'm portraying with other people, whether they're knowing the language or not. Being able to just go with a story or a character can be really amazing.
Absolutely. What is the next story?
So the next story is actually a set of songs called Frauenleben und Leben, and it is an art song. These will be in German by Robert Schumann. So this is a collection of songs, and it is 8 songs, but I'll just be sharing 5 with you today. And they're songs set to poetry. And both of these are from the male perspective, because the poem is written by a man and the music is written by Robert Schumann, and it's fairly old. But as a woman in modern times, I'm approaching the text kind of from a modern perspective. So throughout this story, she meets a man and they start dating, they fall in love, they get married. And in my interpretation of it, it's like a partnership. So when she meets him, they both fall in love. Maybe they both decide to get married. And the strength and power that this woman has in this relationship with her soon-to-be husband. So the first song is Seit ich ihn gesehen, and this is when she first meets him. Seit ich ihn gesehen, sein Bild mir vor, dort aktiv im Dunkel helle nur empor. Sonstig liegt und farblos alles umher. Nach der Schwestern Spiele nicht begehrig mehr, nicht die Liebe weinen, still im Kämmerlein, seit die Kinge sehen, glaub ich blind zu sein. So as the story goes on, they end up dating. And in my interpretation of it, they decide to get pretty serious. And as things get more serious, she sings Der herrlichste von allen, saying, I'm so in love with him, his kind, gentle spirit. She is attracted to him. She thinks he's very good looking. And this is what this song is about. Meinem Himmel hell und heilig und fair. Thank you. So the third song is when they have decided together to get married. And I view it that she has not told anyone yet. And she's so excited. It just happened. It's Ich kann nicht fassen, nicht glauben. And they're going to get married. And she cannot wait to tell her best friends. And here it is. Ich kann nicht fassen, nicht glauben. Es hat ein Traum mich berührt. Wie hätte der Wunder allen mich immer errötend beglückt. Mir war, habe gesprochen. Ich bin auf ewig da. Mir war, ich träume mich immer. Es kann ja nie so sein. Es kann ja nie so sein. Und lass ich träume mich sterben und gebe mich eine Brust. Den seligen Tod wegschlafen in Tränen und endlicher Lust. Ich kann nicht fassen, nicht glauben, es hat ein Traum mich berührt. Wie hätte der Wunder allen mich anerkannt und beglückt. Kann nicht fassen, nicht glauben, es hat ein Traum mich berührt. A lot of times when I'm singing these old pieces, but in foreign languages, I like to think about them almost as modern songs in a way. So the next one is Du Ring on meinem Finger. And I really feel like it's got to put a ring on it, kind of Beyonce's song. So in this song, they've gotten engaged and she's so excited. She just cannot wait to show off that bling. Du Ring an meinem Finger, ein goldenes Ringlein. Ich drücke dich fromm an die Lippen, dich fromm an die Lippen und des Herzens mein. Ich hatte The final song from this selection of art songs that I will share is Helft mir, ihr Schwestern. And at the end, you'll hear the wedding march in the piano music. And I wanted to end with this one. It sounds like they're just going to get married, and she's very excited to share this time with her sisters and her friends, asking them to please help her get dressed, dear sisters, and let's get ready for this wonderful celebration.
Bravo.
Thank you.
What a cool, I love that it's this extended story. It's just like you were saying. I think that's so that it almost reminded me of a modern there are definitely modern pop albums that kind of look at an entire relationship, and it almost reminds me of that.
Definitely. And if any of you watching or listening liked that, there are a couple more songs in the set. So it's Frauenleben und Leben if you're interested in listening to the rest of the story. But I wanted to share with you some other songs as well, so I didn't want to take up the whole time singing Frauenleben und Leben.
And I have to tell you, Maja Lisa, I was when you were talking about modern, you think of it in modern terms when you're singing it, and I was thinking, it seems so romantic. Like there's nothing about her swiping right on Tinder or anything at the beginning,
Right. Well, and as an actor, as a singer actor, you sort of have to think about that. How would she meet? Whether you're putting it in a context of when it was originally done, or I'm trying to more modernize it. Did she meet on Tinder, or did she meet in a bar, or at a wedding? Right. All these places that people meet, and as an actor, you kind of get to create that whole story in your mind.
But beautiful selection and beautiful performance.
Well, thank you.
Really enjoyed.
So I wanted to share some Mozart as well. Mozart is a great composer to sing so many wonderful operas. And I've got to be honest, in the middle of all the pandemic, I didn't really sing for about 2 months. And when I was like, wait a minute, I really, really miss singing, I actually turned to singing Mozart. And these are a couple of the pieces. Mozart can be very, very soothing to sing and very technical in a way. So it can be a good composer to turn to when you're getting back into singing and really making sure that your voice and your body and your breath are connecting. So I wanted to share 2 pieces from Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro. And they're both the same character, Cherubino. And I mentioned that a lot of mezzos get to sing pants rolls. This is one of those pants rolls. So I'm a little dressed up, not so boyish looking, but you can use your imagination. And Cherubino sings this first aria in the beginning, Non so più cosa son. And he basically is kind of like going through puberty and getting all these feelings like, oh my goodness, I noticed the Countess, who is a lead character in the show, and Susanna, and I think they're kind of good looking, and what do I do? And he sings this song to them. Sometimes they have him playing an instrument, and he's basically like serenading them. So this is Non so più. Non so più cosa sono, cosa faccio, ora fa corazon, non ragazzo, ogni tono cangiate colore, ogni tono mi fa palpitar, ogni tono mi fa palpitar, ogni tono mi fa palpitar, solo d'ore di morire nel letto, mi si turba, mi sente ripeto, e a parlare mi sforzo d'amore. Un deseo che io non possa spiegare, un deseo che io non possa spiegare. Non so più cosa sono, cosa faccio, ora fuoco sono, ragazzo, ogni donna cangiate colore, ogni donna mi fa palpitare, ogni donna mi fa palpitare, ogni donna mi fa palpitare. Par un amor sognando, al colore ai monti, fiore le vai fatti, alle quelle venti, che lo son dei vani accenti, portare via con sé, portano via con sé, par un amor sognando, par un amor sognando, all'alco e rombro, e monti fiori, all'erbe, ai fatti, alle che son dei vani accenti, portano via con sé, portano via con sé. Sì, non ho che modo, sì, non ho che modo, parla d'amor con me, parla d'amor con me.
Just like me when I was 12, serenading all the ladies. Yes.
Carabino, the ladies' man.
Yes. My Lisa, I love your acting. It's so, I mean, it's so fun. It's so engaging.
Oh,
And
thank
and
you.
it just helps tell the story so much. But it makes me wonder, so this seems like a silly question, but do you speak all the languages that you sing?
That's a great question. So I have a master's degree in vocal performance, and throughout our college studies, we have to take languages. So I did study Italian, and a few years ago, I would say I was pretty fluent, but I've lost a bit of it. But we also have to learn how to speak the languages. So even if you're not 100% fluent, you need to take diction courses to be able to speak and say the language as well. So if I'm singing a piece and I don't know the word, I have to go look it up, and I know exactly which word I'm singing, so I am able to act and express it. And
That's
then,
what made me think of it.
yeah, and as a singer, you have to memorize pieces. It's much easier to memorize a song or an aria when you know what you're singing as well, so that it really has meaning to it instead of just words. Because I think as a singer, words are so powerful, and we can really communicate and tell stories and be able to share characters with you when we know those
Sure.
words.
So do you mostly find yourself singing songs in Romance languages, or does it get even more exotic than that?
For me, mostly Romance languages, yes. I get hired to do lots of different singing. So sometimes I do get hired to sing in Hebrew, or I might get hired to sing another Romance language in Latin, just depending upon the different jobs as a classical or opera singer that I have. But mostly I perform in Italian, German, French, and English. But often people will ask, what languages is opera written in? And really, I would say almost every language. So you can sing in Russian, you can sing in Czech. There's lots of different languages that have a classical music or an opera art form.
Wow. and talk about worlds, worlds meeting, worlds colliding, areas of knowledge coming together.
Definitely.
Incredible.
And one of the things that draws me to opera in particular is I think that it's such a combination of so many different art forms. So you can visually see costumes and sets, visual arts, and orchestra from the pit, and then singing and languages and acting, all those wonderful combinations of the arts together.
Absolutely. What's next, Maya Lisa?
Well,
I'm
next
loving
is
this.
another song of Carabino's, and it's Voi che sapete. And this song he's singing to Susanna and the Countess. And he's kind of sharing a little bit of his intimate feelings, like, oh, when I see women, I might blush a little bit. I'm not quite sure what to do. Oh, I think I like you. Do I tell you what I feel? All again, those teenage hormones that
Of course.
Mozart portrays in Cherubino's song Voi che sapete. Voi che sapete che cos'è amor, non ne vedete solo nel cor, non ne vedete solo nel cor. Quello che io provo vi ridirò. E per il nuovo carpir non so, sento l'affetto pien di desir, corrai diletto, corrai martir, gelo presento l'alma vampar, e in un momento torno a girar. Ricerco il bene, voi ride me, non so chi attiene, non so così, spirigemo senza voler, o poi tremo senza saper, non trovo pace, non te di, ma per me mia voce languir così. Voi che sapete che cos'è amor, donne vedete solo nel cor, donne vedete solo nel cor, donne vedete solo nel cor. Well, I think we have time for one more song, right?
Absolutely. I could listen to you all afternoon, so don't let me.
Thank you.
I won't stop you for one more song.
So a lot of opera companies do some of the older musicals. So I wanted to share a song in English because I've been singing in all foreign languages. This is a song from South Pacific, and because my theme today was talking about love, I thought this would be really appropriate. It's I'm in love with a wonderful guy, and you can count at home, but I think she sings love maybe like 25 times, maybe more. I haven't counted it out exactly, but this is a really fun song talking about being in love. Here we go. I expect every one of my crowd to make fun of my proud protestations of faith and romance. And they'll say I'm naive as a babe to believe any fable I hear from a person in pants. Fearlessly I'll face them and argue about flowers and spring. Flatly I'll stand on my little flat feet and say, love is a grand and a beautiful thing. I'm not ashamed to reveal the world famous feeling I feel. I'm as corny as Kansas in August. I'm as normal as blueberry pie. No more a smart little girl with no heart. I have found me a wonderful guy. I am in a conventional dither with a conventional star in my eye. And you'll note there's a lump in my throat when I speak of my wonderful guy. I'm as trite and as gay as a daisy in May, a cliche coming true. I'm romantic and bright as a moon, happy night, very light on the dew. I'm as corny as Kansas in August, high as a flag on the 4th of July. If you'll excuse an expression I use, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with a wonderful guy. I'm as corny as Kansas in August, high as a flag on the 4th of July. If you'll excuse an expression I use, I'm in love, 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 I'm in love with a wonderful guy.
Wow, beautiful. She must be in love.
She must be.
she
She
must be in
so
love.
much.
Hi, Lisa. What a pleasure hearing you sing today.
Well, this has been so fun. I'm glad
really
to
been
share some
wonderful.
music with probably people all over the world.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing the stories behind them and the context. I think that adds so much. I'm able to appreciate it so much more and see the story played out in your voice and in your acting. That's so much fun to me. I wanted to ask you what do you think there are certain roles or stories that you're drawn to? Is it stories of love? Is that what you're most drawn to?
I would say I'm drawn to a lot of different stories. One of my favorite roles to play is Hansel in Hansel and Gretel, which is a fairy tale. I'm working on some other pieces like Kindertotenlieder by Mahler, which is pretty sad, but it's always nice to go back to love and have that feel-good feeling, such as all these songs. So I think for me, just being able to share lots of different stories and emotions is what I'm drawn to.
Sure. And certainly this afternoon, you're right that this afternoon was what a pick-me-up. The sun, first of all, the sun is shining in New York City today, so that helps. But I'm sitting in front of this. I'm sitting in front of this sunny window, and just these happy songs are lifting my mood. It's so wonderful. Maja Lisa, give us an idea of this is a different world for me too. So I'm learning for myself too. What does your work look like? What are you singing with different groups all the time? Is there one group that you're associated with?
Sure. So my life as a professional musician has a few different kind of categories. So I teach private voice lessons at my own studio. I also teach at a college, and primarily I've been doing a lot of that. But as things are starting to open up, more companies are contacting me to sing for them. I have a few contracts coming up in the next year. But I oftentimes sing at churches and sometimes for church services, or I know next year I'll be singing with a couple churches that have hired orchestras to do big concerts. I often sing with a Baroque group here in the Philadelphia area, and we do Baroque tuning and Baroque instruments.
Wow.
So a lot of older things like Handel's Messiah.
Okay, now the nerdy part of me now has to ask, the Baroque tuning, that must take some getting used to.
Yeah, I think probably more for the instrumentalist, because a few changes in the tuning for my voice doesn't affect it too much. But yeah, it is a little different than if I were to try to play the exact pitches at home on my piano, which is tuned to what we would normally hear now.
Oh,
And then I am singing with some opera companies and solos with orchestras or choirs. So a lot of different avenues to be singing in.
and I'm excited to hear that. So it sounds like things are coming back for you. You're
Slowly and surely, yes.
good.
Next year looks
Good.
like there's a few things coming up.
That is exciting. It was a long year and a half, and I know we're all excited to that first time I've had it now, but that first time that I saw live music out, and I thought, what is what is this? I haven't seen this in so long. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there must be traveling involved with all this work that you do.
Yeah, right now I'm not traveling as much. I have a young child, so I focus a little bit more on things like in the tri-state area. But yeah, sometimes there is traveling. For me, mostly within the United States, but other of my colleagues are traveling to Europe right now as well. So it is nice to see that some of those things are opening up for them as well.
Your child is going to be so well versed in language and opera and
Yes.
and the arts. I love that. Were your parents? Are there other artists in your family, or did you shock your parents being an opera
No,
singer?
I kind of shocked my parents. I grew up singing and loving to sing, and my parents were a little musical, but not really musical at all. And we did, singing in church together, so that kind of musical ability. But when I showed interest in singing lessons, my mom was able to provide the opportunity for me, and then I just kept singing. And I think that they were sort of surprised when this has turned into my life, which is awesome, but really, really supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's honestly that's a recurring theme that we kind of push here at Sing for Hope. Is we in the New York City area, we visit a lot of the schools, and we kind of, there are so many kids everywhere that are growing up in families that the arts aren't as much of a thing, and sort of sharing that these are careers, these are things that you can do, and there are places you can go with this. So I
And I
love
feel
hearing that.
really strongly that the arts, which I try to instill in my students that I teach private voice lessons to, can really provide a lot of avenues for gaining in confidence. And no matter what career you go into, I love to focus on careers in the arts and in music, but they can really be valuable tools for all people learning an instrument or learning how to sing, to collaborate and
Sure.
to, be a well-rounded person even.
Absolutely. Singing is public speaking. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, Maya Lisa, thank you so much for spending the afternoon and sharing your talent with us. This was such a pleasure to hear you sing and hear all of these uplifting stories. Thank you to everyone joining us out there on the internet. Be sure to check out singforhope.org/calendar to see all the other exciting events we have coming up. And of course, if you'd like to help support open arts and keep the music going, you can visit singforhope.org/donate. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you at a program soon. Thanks, Maya Lisa.
Thank you.
So long.